So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at logs, and we're going to basically, a log is a function that takes in some number and it outputs another number. So you can kind of think about it as a number here goes into the log function, the number here, and that gives you out another number, number 2. This is the first number, goes into the log function, and it gives you another number. So just to start off, we're going to, I could prove all the rules, but I think that if you just memorize, if you just write these rules down, then we can start to look at the definition of it, and it's a little bit easier instead of having to prove everything from the start. So the first log rule we're going to use is the log of a number x times y is going to be the log of x plus the log of y. So this means that if you multiply two numbers together, you can expand that out by taking the log of each number and adding them to each other. The second rule we'll use is that if you divide two values by each other, then it's going to be the log of the first value, x, this is the numerator, minus log of the denominator, which is y. And remember that that this here is the numerator, and then this here is the denominator, just to make sure. And the third rule we'll use is that log of some x to the power of n, so this is just a number, n, we can actually move the power out the front of the log, and then this is a very important aspect. So we can go n log of x. And so basically we can move the a number that this x is power, the power of x out the front. And this is really important. So let me talk a little bit about motivation. What motivates us to use logarithms? Well, it's kind of equations like these. So if you have an equation that has some number here and the x is in the power, how do you rearrange this for x? And so this is how we introduce the logarithm. It's in order to solve equations that we couldn't normally solve without the log, and so that's why it's important. And we get these equations in chemistry, so that's why I'm explaining them to you. Now we call b the base of the power, and if we want to solve for x, then we have to rearrange for x. So let's multiply both sides by something called the log, and the log has to have a specific base, and the base is basically the base of the power. So let's do that, and let's times both sides by log to the base that we're using. Now we can use rule 3, and we can move this power down here out the front is equal to log by, and log b, if it takes in the base, it's going to give you out 1, and this is how it's defined. So this is the definition of the log. And so that means that this here goes to 1, and we're left with x is equal to log b of y. So this is really handy. And back in the day, I usually use a calculator, but I remember people telling me that they used to have huge tables, and you'd basically try and find what the logarithm of a number was, and you just have to kind of look on the table and try to figure out what that log was. And that's how they used to deal with functions. They used to deal with sine and cosine, but we've actually got we've got a calculator, so that makes things very simple. And so we can work out the log of any number to any base, and that's very, very handy. And so now we can solve the equation that has x in the power up here.